Welcome to everyone who is joining in. Great to see you all. If you can hear me, please do mention in the chat window at the bottom of the screen on your phones or on your desktops. It will be visible. Great. Thank you, Sean, Parasuram. Great to see you guys engaging. Can the others here as well just say, give me a quick +1 or a yes, whatever works for you guys. Brilliant. Kishan, Rohan, good to see you guys engaging and joining in. Dipsy, good to see you all. Welcome to the next episode in the machine learning webinar series. We are in episode 6 at the moment, and today we're going to be going live on uses of AI across industries with Narayani, which is going to be really good session that we have lined up. Just as we do for all our previous sessions, we just do a quick intro survey just to understand your, what is your experience that you have, and what is the outcome that you're looking at for or looking for from this session specifically. So right about now, a screen should flash on your poll should flash on your screens. You can just sort of quickly put that in. In the meantime, for those who are not aware, this series of sessions are run by Upgrad. Upgrad is a online edtech firm where we help upskill working professionals in tech skills, namely machine learning, data science, software, so on and so forth. We have various master's degrees in unison with global universities across the world and also universities in India. So we have a specific machine learning and artificial intelligence program, a diploma and masters, which is the diploma is with unison with Triple IT Bangalore, and our master's degree is with Liverpool John Moores University and with Triple IT Bangalore. And we also have certifications in machine learning specifically, and that is more or less to help people upskill. These series of sessions is more to help you sort of gauge where you're at in the industry, and how artificial intelligence, how machine learning is sort of changing the landscape in this digital world that we're living in, and to help you answer some of the questions, the pressing questions that you have in your day-to-day work life, anything around that. That is what we want to help answer. So today's session, Narayani will sort of work through, through her experience, and obviously covering artificial intelligence across the industries for the first 40 odd minutes, 45 minutes. And then we're going to go to an open Q&A like we do, wherein we will just have an open Q&A with Narayani. I will take up questions that you have on that one. So do add them in the Q&A tab throughout the session, because I will, answer those with Narayani at the end of the session. And then we have a final 5 to 10 minutes Q&A with me as well. Any specific questions that you have about, careers and building your career. But Narayani, can you see the poll? Can you see the people are?
Yeah, I can see the poll. Yeah.
Brilliant. Cool. So we're already on 60% people who have already voted for it. So great to see you all engaging. We'll probably leave it for 30 seconds more. So if you can, just quickly just punch it in, and we will get cracking soon. So for those of you, like I mentioned, there's a Q&A. I think if you'd like to just check on your phones or your laptops, if you're on a desktop, just let me know. Put in your questions in the Q&A forum. You can even start putting them in now. We will pick those up at the end of the session. Already, I can see Rohan has asked, what's the role of artificial intelligence in the Internet of Things? Good questions, Rohan. We will answer those during the session. So I think we can get started. Narayani, are you ready?
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to end the poll, and maybe you can start, introduce yourself, and then we can get cracking on with the session. Yeah?
Yeah.
So
Hi guys, this is great to see you guys. So I can see that 65% of you are generally below 2 years of experience, around 0 to 2 years experience. And you are basically looking at AI as a means of upskilling for getting knowledge as well as transitioning. So this is fantastic. Okay, so let's start. My name is Narayani Vishwanathan. I've got more than 16 years of experience, 10 of which is basically in analytics. I've worked in a couple of industries, including consumer durables, market research. I've also worked in advertising. So I currently work as a partner in neural net analytics. So we basically help a lot of companies to make sense of the data that they get. For example, if someone is trying to look at a celebrity for endorsement for their products, then we help them to find out who is the best fit among the number of celebrities that they have taken shortlisted. Okay, so this is the kind of work that we do. But analytics is not just in terms of questionnaires or in terms of just understanding what are the mindset of people. Today, analytics has become a very practical thing, and it has actually been driving business for the past 5 years. Because if you look till 2010, there was a concept that you can do business only if you own the goods. But today, you can see that there is an Ola, there is an Uber, you can see that there is Airbnb. So none of these companies own any of the services that they're providing. They have actually become, technology has enabled them to connect service providers to actually people who need service. So that is the power of AI. So today we will just look at what are the different scope and role of AI in across different industries. Okay, so what is AI? So many of us will think that AI is something similar to computing and all of that. Basically, AI is that skill set which enables the computer to take decisions like human beings. Okay, so there are different terms which are used. So if you look at AI, most of the technology things, they call it as AI. Technology companies call this as AI. You will find that consultant companies will call this as ML. Okay, and then you also have a lot of technology companies working with computer visions and other things. They will call it as deep learning. Okay, so these are the different names. Most of this, there is a slight difference between AI, ML, and deep learning. This also showcase what is the kind of involvement or how much AI is driving their industry. So if you are looking at, let's say, AI, you might think that AI is very new. You might think that AI is what has come to the fore or it is driving business in the world only in the past 10 years. That is not true. So I hope most of you have seen in the movies. Okay, so you would have seen this particular person, about this person called Alan Turing. He basically used machine learning to decipher basically codes which were sent by the German bombers, okay, in UK and European countries. Because of this, he could actually help the Allies force win the World War II. So you can find that machine learning is as old as 1940. Okay. So most of you would be thinking that AI and ML is something very complicated. To give you an idea, you can actually go to Google and you can say that how many calories does a slice of cake have? Okay, so here you will find that Google is actually answering your question. Google is telling you that this is so many calories. You can actually try it live even today. Okay, so what is this? This is AI. Google is literally running AI. Google is able to understand among the different words that you are typing, which of these words are important and which of these words are not important. And it is going to give you results based on this. Okay, so this is also called NLP, which we will be learning. Yeah, there are two people who have raised their hands. Tell me. What is the difference between AI and machine learning? Okay, so AI is almost like a rule-based thing, whereas machine learning is not rule-based. It is actually using certain mathematical concepts to find out, to churn the data and make sense of it. That is the main difference. For example, AI can be 1 plus 1 is 2. So it is rule-based. You can actually say that this is a dog. Okay, and similar kind of species are dogs. Whereas in machine learning, you can actually introduce different breeds of dog and teach the system to identify dogs. That is the main difference between AI and machine learning. How long does it take to become a pro at AI? Okay, so more or less it takes around 5 years in terms of you will spend 2 years mastering, then you are going to take projects and take a job. So I would say that more or less 5 years is required. Okay, I will give you another example. You have seen translation, so you have seen Google Translator. Here you can see that you are entering different words and you can see that it can randomly translate it, immediately translate it into the language of your choice. This is also AI. So here what is happening is Google is parsing. So as you are saying, I am a woman. Let's say I am writing, I am a woman. Okay. So it is translating word by word into the other language. So there may be some grammatical differences, but this is again AI. Similarly, all of us are having mobile phones and we are able to talk. There is a digital assistant which is available in mobile phones, right? This is also an AI. So you will find that AI is a superset and ML is a subset, because AI is all rule based also becomes a kind of intelligence, that is AI. And machine learning is nothing but there are certain techniques based on which you are predicting the results. Okay, so you will find that when you are talking to a mobile assistant on the cell phone, it is first hearing you and it is translating it into a word that is most common. You will find that many a times when you have got a new phone, or let's say you are shifting from iPhone to Google or from Google to iPhone, you will find that initially for the first 2-3 days, you will find that some of the words, the pronunciations that you do are actually going to be wrongly translated. That is because this is an AI. As it learns about your words, it also is going to keep a dictionary of your pronunciations and the kind of words you use. You will find that this virtual assistant is able to hear you better. So that is one part of AI. Another part of AI is it is able to identify certain commands. So suppose you are saying open YouTube. It is able to open because it has been trained in that particular fashion. So you can see that initially when it's hearing, it is more of a judgment based, and in the second thing it is rule based. So this is another example of AI. So you can see that this is also IoT. What is IoT? Here you can see that in the mobile phone, it is having a sensor which is hearing what you are saying. In IoT, you are going to put a sensor which is going to identify the state of different machines. For example, if you look at a Tesla car, they have a sensor for every different part of the car. As a result of it, let's suppose there is a overheating of the engine. It is immediately going to raise an alarm. Okay, so there is a sensor which is automatically identifying the state of each of the components. As soon as one of the good states are, let's say, corrupted, it is immediately raising this alarm. So you will find that your car is either going to come to a stop, or you will get a call from the call center saying that there is some problem, can you please stop at the nearest destination. You will find that this is also available in the air turbine planes. You will find it is available in solar panels. So this is one of the biggest. So if you see, this kind of AI is today very, very popular. So AI is nothing but you are able to have initial intelligence. Like a child, you are able to understand this is good, that is wrong. That is AI. ML is when there is actually certain mathematical algorithms which are involved, resulting to that intelligence. For example, if you want to predict what is going to be the sale of, let's say, coolers in the next 24 months, you can actually use intelligent algorithms like linear regression, which is going to actually tell you what is the relationship of temperature, what is the relationship of temperature and the town you live, what is the relationship of humidity, what is the relationship of your lifestyle, and it is actually going to predict what is going to be the sales of water coolers in that area. So that is ML. What is deep learning? Deep learning is when you are, let's say, putting big data, it is able to read all the components, it is able to select features, and it is able to run ML. So deep learning is something automatic. That is deep learning. And virtual reality is nothing but when these companies are actually playing with computer vision. Okay, so they are able to identify the contours of your face. They're able to identify where is the eyes, where is the nose, where is the mouth, where is the face, and they are able to actually, project certain objects. So this is a computer vision project. So these are the different streams of AI. So to learn AI, there are going to be certain mathematical requirements as well as programming requirements. I think Stephen is going to cover it at the end of the section. Okay, now another way in which AI works, you will see that when you are shopping on Amazon or when you are seeing movies in Netflix, okay, after you've shopped or after you have finished viewing, you will immediately see that it is recommending you certain products, or it is recommending you new movies. Okay, so this particular technology is called recommendation engines. This is the reason why the recommendation in so you will find that Netflix is recommending you differently in comparison to a Hotstar, in comparison to, let's say, Hulu. Why? Because they are having different recommendation engines depending on the profile of the subscribers. Okay, so this technology is called recommendation engine. Similarly, in Amazon, you will find that it says that people who have shopped this have also shopped that. So there, it is actually going to predict or give you recommendation of new products based on people who have bought products like you. Okay, so this is called recommendation engine. The programming languages which are widely utilized in the industries are R, Python, and if you're looking at deep learning, there are other technologies also. But as a start, it's a good idea to learn Python. Now let's look at how is AI used in the business sense. So AI is going to tell you, yeah, Keras, yes. So AI is going to actually make the whole process of identifying the relationship between price, distribution to the sales of your particular product. Similarly, it can identify how much advertising is optimal. It is going to tell you that if you want to increase your sales by 5%, your advertisement should increase by 20%. So you can see that AI is able to predict these things. Okay, so this is how it can actually enable products to make predictions. Now let us look at how AI is also going to help companies, service companies, to improve their services. One is AI can, so if you are using a machine learning language, okay, so you are able to predict, if I'm a BPO, I can actually predict that how many calls am I expecting in 1 minute. So if I'm going to get, let's say, 10 calls in a minute, then it is optimal that I have 10 different people taking the calls. So AI can help you set up companies, it will help you set up products, it will help you to predict how much you should invest in these products, and also what will be the predicted sales. Similarly, AI is also used in data science. So today we know that in the COVID-19 era, people are saying that, in the next 20 days, so many cases are going to be, COVID cases will arise. Or they will say that the cases will come down. How is this? This is also actually AI. So you can use algorithms, you can use machine language, logarithms to come to the conclusion of how many cases are going to happen. So you will find that AI is used everywhere. Similarly, if you go to Western countries, in India this is still not used, but if you go to China or to other Western countries, it is possible that they don't have too many policemen on the road. They can actually use the computer images to identify what is the object. They can identify a person from a car to, let's say, some other object. This is actually used pretty well. So this is going to be used in security. This is also used in a lot of law enforcement places. So today you will find that police detectives are actually working with AI. Okay, what else happens with AI? So you also see that today social media is all pervasive. Every person has an account and all kind of people are actually posting. So AI is going to enable you to make sense of the data. For example, let's say someone is posting something. AI can actually help you understand what kind of person this is. He can actually find out what kind of statement is it. Is it a positive statement? Is it a negative statement? So you have something called NLP, okay, which is going to help you find this sense of these languages. This is not only available in English, you can also run this in most of the European languages. So in case any of you are trying to do a PhD in ML or AI, you can actually do this with Indian languages. Okay, so today let's see what is the scope of AI along different industries. Okay, so you will find that in the next 5 years, almost 60% of jobs in all industries will be dominated by AI. So knowledge of AI is going to be very, very important. Okay, so you basically find that technology, media, and telecom, they are going to use 70%. Most of their jobs will be utilizing AI. That is, if someone is actually offering someone a product, they'll be using AI to find out what are the needs of this particular person, what is the capacity of this person, hence what plan I should give to this person. So you will find that for the same kind of services, it's possible that someone is paying a different amount in comparison to others, just like insurance. Similarly, in financial, you can already find that based on your papers, based on the documents that you are giving, you can actually find there is a variation in the interest rate that is given, right? So all of this is all determined by AI. So today you will find that some of the industries which will use a lot of AI will be technology, media, telecom, consumer goods related companies, financial services, other services, healthcare. So these will have a lot of AI. Whereas you will find that manufacturing and also other companies like distribution, they will be using around, let's say, 50-55% of the thing will be determined by AI. Okay, now let's come to what is going to be the future of consumer devices. Today already you will find that you have an Apple Watch, or let's say any other watch, a Samsung watch, or any other electronic wristband. You are seeing that it is actually able to it is recording your vital stats. Okay, but you will find that going forward, a lot of these machines are going to have such sensors. So the sensors are actually going to help the company connect with you. So tomorrow, rather than going to a doctor to see my BP, I can actually probably will have a dashboard from Apple, which is actually going to signal that you're having high BP, visit the doctor, low BP or okay BP. Okay, so these kind of dashboards are quite possible. That's why you will find that many of the jobs in AI also have business intelligence. That is, these people will be making dashboards. Okay, so these people will actually be looking at the data and coming with very useful dashboard. You already see this in financial sector. So as you log into your account online, you will see there are a lot of stats which are available. Similarly for insurance also. So the main skill required for AI is going to be a lot of hard work, and an understanding of mathematics is also slightly required. Okay, so you will find that tomorrow a lot of these consumer devices are going to have the capability where it is finding out the status of different components, and it is going to go to the cloud, and hence you are going to you will be able to control what is happening with that particular device. Currently for AI, coding is required, but it is not too much. If you look at Python has got very simple coding. Okay, so today AI is possible with minimum coding. The basic requirement for AI is understanding algorithms. We should understand what is the next step. Okay, so coding is very easy in Python. Okay, what is data analytics, data science, and ML? Okay, so data analytics is a complete, so data science and ML are actually part of data analytics. So data analytics is basically used in knowledge industries where you are defining a problem, you are collecting the data, you are then analyzing the data, and finally you are creating a model. For example, let's say some country is taking census information. Okay, so from this census information, they are deriving a lot of statistics like mortality rate, literacy rate, right? So to a certain level, this whole process of collecting data and coming with, let's say, what is the meaning of this, the whole process is called as data analytics. What is data science? Data science is nothing but a lot of algorithms and maths which is going to help you to make models. Okay. And what is ML? ML is nothing but machine learning. So you are not only collected the data, you are able to apply data science and you are able to predict things. Okay, so this is called as ML. So the basic requirements for a data scientist will depend on the industry you are. So if you're going to get a job of data scientist in a technology company like Google, or let's say a financial company, okay, for Google, they will ask you for a lot of coding experience. Whereas in the financial company, they will ask you for Java, JavaScript, as well as Python. Okay, so Python is something which is going to be common for data science across the different domains, but you will find that based on the domain, the requirement of other skills will also be there. Okay, sorry. Now let's come to what are the different machine learning. RStudio is also used. So if you look at Python, you will find that Python is more popular in Asian countries. Okay, so requirement for R is more popular in US. So even if you look at Canada, there will be a higher requirement for Python. Only in US, R is like 60-30. Okay, whereas in other countries, it's gonna be more of Python. Okay, now let's look at a financial sector. Let's look at where all machine learning can be used. So machine learning can be used to automate a process. For example, today, I can use my internet connection to pay vendors. I can use my internet connection to open FDs. I can close FDs. I can pay to something else, right? This is possible because of ML. So what is ML doing here? Along with technology, it is analyzing what kind of account it is, what are the different requirements. So you will find that if you are, let's say, having an account which is a let's say it is a a corporate account, so there probably is no limit to the kind of transactions you can do. Whereas if you are having a SB account, savings bank account, they will, maybe you can withdraw only 10,000 or 15,000. So all of this is to a large level determined by ML. So ML is going to tell them that 15,000 should be the limit, and vice and other things. ML is also going to be used in understanding anomalies. So for example, if I'm a credit card company, you will find that suppose you've gone to a new place. Suppose I stay in Bombay. Suppose I go to some place like MP, which I have never traveled, and I have, let's say, bought something for 50,000 rupees. You will immediately find that the credit card company is going to call you and tell you that what is this that you have done? I want to confirm whether you are the holder, and they will ask for your credentials. Okay, so this kind of fraud detection and all that security measures is possible only because of AI. Okay, similarly, like we spoke, you can take loans. So the interest rate, okay, or the number of months, all of this can be determined by AI. So today you can see that there are a lot of companies who are providing, other than banks, which are giving you loan just on internet. Okay, this is all possible because of AI. So they are going to look at your profile. They will also look at your social accounts, and they are, yeah, so credit score through mobile companies. Suppose it's not a bank, okay? So suppose you have an offer saying that you can take this loan. You can basically call this company. They will get basically your details. Apart from this, they will also determine your lifestyle. Since it is through a mobile, it's quite possible they are finding out the location where you're living. They may also be finding out what are the different services you are using. They will find out whether you are paying for services. Okay, so this is all going to tell them the affluence of the customer, and hence credit scoring is possible. In banking, credit score is basically determined by how much monthly income you are getting. Okay, whether you are a salaried person or you're running a business. Okay, it also determines on how much you are, like, let's say, spending in a month, and all of those things. Now AI also today is powering automatic, stock market investment. So this is called as algo trading. You will find that there are a lot of companies which are saying that we will give you. So there's a lot of people who are actually going to tell you how much you should invest, what is the importance, and so on. Okay, so this is called as algorithmic trading, and this is also done by AI. Similarly, you have a lot of chatbots today. Whether you're going to a power company or you're going to other banking company, you will find that there are a lot of chatbots. So these chatbots are also powered by ML and AI. Okay, now let's look at what are the different machine learning cases in telecom. So in telecom, as we were talking, they are going to use machine learning to understand who's the customer. They will find out whether a customer is happy or not. Okay, they can find out that there are a lot of customers who are churning out. That is, they are leaving me to go to competition. You can actually use ML to predict whether among the other customers, who are the customers who are likely to go out. So all of this is going to be powered by AI. Similarly, you will find that for telecom, they can use machine language to identify faulty areas. They can actually identify which of the towers are not working optimally. They can also actually set up, resistant networks based on these outcomes. Okay. Similarly, for let's say IT infrastructure, in most of the companies, you have an IT infrastructure. There, it is possible for ML to help them secure the network. ML will also help them in managing the database. Similarly, you will find that if someone is having, let's say, an Airtel connection in India, it's quite possible that based on your billing, you will get new schemes saying that you can, let's say, buy an insurance for your phone. It is only so much. Or they will say that I will offer you broadband connection for this amount. Just based on one mobile phone, they can sell you 5 different services. Okay. So these kind of personalized programs is possible because they're actually using your usage of, let's say, your phone, mobile phone. They're able to understand which of the different technology this person is using, what are the websites they are using, what kind of phone are they using. Okay, based on this, they can actually come with different schemes for a person. Okay, so most of these is possible only because of machine language. This is also called as AI. Now, similarly, when you're going out for shopping, okay, they are also going to use AI. How? They are basically trying to understand what are gonna be the products which are gonna be, what is the sensitivity, price sensitivity for the different products. They will use AI to demand how much of this particular product should I purchase and keep. They will also use AI to optimize their logistics. So they will set up their companies, or they will have their air routes or road routes in such a way that the cost is minimized. They will also use AI to understand whether I should buy this merchandise, should I stock this particular retail brand, and so on. Okay. AI is also used again for fraud detection. They can actually identify which of the customers are returning goods and whether this is happening again and again. So this kind of fraud detection they can do. They can use security cameras to find out who is stealing. They can also have customer loyalty cards. Hence, the retail is able to understand which of the customers are not coming. So you will find that suppose in Domino's or Marks and Spencer's, if you're not visiting for 2 or 3 months, you will immediately get a coupon card saying that we missed you. I am giving you 25% discount and all of that. So that is also possible using machine learning. Similarly, for location, let's suppose Big Bazaar comes with a scheme. Okay, you will find that Big Bazaar is advertising on print media or on TV. Suppose let's say I am a retail company. I'm a Marks and Spencer. Okay, and I basically want to advertise something like a flash sale. Okay, so I can use ML to find out what is the location of people, where are they living, so that I can advertise, I can use Wi-Fi and advertise them directly to their mobile phones. Okay. Similarly, you will also find that after your shopping experience on Amazon or on other retail stores, they are sending you certain surveys saying that how was your visit? How was your purchase experience? Okay, and they will also ask you that please tell me verbally what are the different things that you found helpful, what are the different things you did not find helpful, and based on this they can rate customers. Finally, they can, like, if you're buying, let's say, an automobile or an electronic thing, you will find that retail companies itself, based on some documents, they will give you loans. All of this is basically possible because of machine language. So they are using machine learning AI to find out how much interest rate or how much I should. Okay, so this is also possible. Now let's come to supply chain. Okay, you will find that again, like in retail, supply chain. So a manufacturer can also take care of his supply chain by understanding what is going to be the demand. So how much are my vendors going to supply? They can also sense that what is going to be the new demand. They can find out what is going to be the risk if I'm using a particular logistics or a distributor. They can actually then also optimize what is the nearest route to supply. Okay, they can also implement something like a just in time. So it's quite possible that if a particular retail company or some company are saying that this is my last order, they will immediately gonna send new order supply. Okay, so all of this is possible in supply chain. Okay, so ML is machine learning makes this possible. Finally, in healthcare. Okay, so you will find that in healthcare, ML plays a very, very big part, because initially, you know that if you are using an Apple Watch or you are regularly finding out whether you know what is your BP level. Okay, so this basically you will find that there are a lot of cloud based services where you can record these. So machine learning will sensitize you if they find that the trend is breaking. Suppose your BP is shooting, okay, then basically ML will give you a signal. So AI is going to help you keep a note of your health. Similarly, if you are basically giving you a blood sample or a urine sample, you machine language can help automatically to give results. So that is why today you find that for diabetic you have a machine, right? Similarly, for more complicated issues like, let's say, COVID-19, they will be using machine language algorithms to find to the conclusion saying that what is the possibility that this person doesn't have COVID. Okay, so most of these particular things, you will find that the pharmacist is only doing physical things. Then he puts it in a machine and the machine is going to give results. That is actually, driven by AI. Similarly, let's say you are having a chest pain. Okay, then you are going to take a scanner, right? That suppose you are having a wrist pain, you can take an X-ray. So machine learning can actually help you detect whether there is a problem or not based on the image of the particular area. Okay, so that is possible. So based on all of this, then the doctor can give you what is the way forward. Okay, similarly, suppose a new drug is being developed. So machine language is going to help them predict what is the success of this drug, what are the problems with this drug. Okay, similarly, let's say that giving some training to different patients, how they have to behave in a particular ICU or something like that. Okay, so then also it's quite possible that they are optimizing their video where they are giving instructions based on certain outputs, I mean inputs from the patients, which is driven by machine learning. Okay, so all these things are possible using machine learning in healthcare. Now, basically, what we've come to the end of the session. So I want to emphasize that artificial intelligence is like the mother of all kind of human intelligence in machines. So that is called as artificial intelligence. A subset of that is ML. ML is machine language. So rather than saying that this is a dog, if you are saying that a dog has this kind of tail, this kind of ears, this kind of nose, okay, all of that, then that particular computer starts recognizing that as a dog. Okay, so that is called as machine learning. Now, what is deep learning? Deep learning is when you are just giving features. So you are saying that this is how the tail is, this is how the eyes are, this is how the mouth is, and automatically the machine is taking all that information and telling you this is a dog. That is called as deep learning. Now we also have something called NLP, which is called as natural language processing. So here what happens is, you are saying a sentence, the computer can find out whether this is a harsh sentence, whether this is a sentence with respect, whether they are saying something good about you or they are saying something bad about you. This is called as NLP. So to do NLP, there needs to be a good language proficiency which is required. Now within within machine learning, there are two kinds of learning. One is called as the supervised learning. Supervised learning is when you already have captured cases with the output. Okay, so for example, if I am saying that the height of the father is so many centimeter and the height of the son is generally so many centimeter. Suppose I have to predict the height of the son for new cases based on the height of the father, then I will go for something called a supervised learning. Unsupervised learning is when you don't know what is the outcome. Okay, for example, I generally find out that generally the height of sons are so much only. Then using these heights, I am creating two different groups or three different groups. Okay, that is called as unsupervised learning. Reinforcement learning is basically learning from mistakes. Okay, so reinforcement learning is when you are teaching a computer based on whether it's predicting correctly or not. For example, let's say I am training a computer to identify dogs. Okay, so I've sent new samples. Suppose I'm finding some new breed of dog which the computer doesn't know, then the computer is going to wrongly predict this. It might say that this is not a dog, but I am correcting the computer. I'm saying this is also a dog. Then the next time the computer is going to correctly identify that dog. This is called as reinforcement learning. Okay, so these are the different technologies which are available, and these are going to help you to program the computer to give you optimum results. Yeah, if you're looking at booking tickets, okay, that is not driven by AI. Now these websites which are there, right, you will find that websites generally use AI to predict how many tickets should I basically put on sales. So you will find that if there is an airplane with 100 tickets, okay, most of these companies will actually sell 300 tickets, because depending on the routes, okay, so they can predict that how many tickets are not going to be utilized, and based on that they will actually sell a lot of tickets. Okay, and sometimes you will find that in some international routes they can actually tell you that this particular plane is overbooked, I will reimburse you the ticket plus the stay if you take the next day flight. Okay, so these kind of analytics are actually driven by ML. Similarly, when they are coming with new routes for different cities, that whole plan of, let's say, from Bombay to Delhi, they are going to take, let's say, a route via Punjab, or they are taking it via Uttar Pradesh. That also, which particular route is going to be more profitable, that is also going to be determined using machine learning. How the price is set in ascending or descending order. Okay, so in payments, how is AI going to be used? Let's say once you are registering a vendor, and let's say you're also registering a particular device. Okay, so if you are basically doing the particular payment, okay, so how basically the transaction happens, it's going to be determined by ML. So you'll find that you can do payment by just putting your finger thumb, or you can pay by just using your facial recognition. Okay, all of that is determined by AI, because it is determining whether the finger thumb is matching with the actual one. It is recognizing whether the face cut is the same, right? So this is how AI is going to be used. Okay. Yes, Stephen, I've come to the end of the session.
Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant. So are we open to taking Q&A now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for that. It's really insightful, I think. So we'll just have like an open Q&A with you where I'll take in every question that is coming in so far
Okay.
and ask you those questions and you can just talk about it. Yeah, that works.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So just to start with, I think Narayani, we've had like, I think also at the intro poll, you saw that, there are many people who are looking to upskill, many people looking to transition. I think those are the main
Yes.
two things, right? Now,
Yes.
can you help with regards to just, those who are looking specifically to, transition, those who are a bit more experienced maybe, but don't have the necessary, skill sets or are not in this domain right now.
Yeah.
How can they go or get into this domain, this role? What is the process for them in terms of, obviously there's learning and then there's obviously trying to figure out organizations that will take them in, right? So can you just shed some light on that?
Yeah. So basically, you are able to solve new problems, or you're going to take intelligent decisions using AI. So if you're looking at promotion, or you're looking at taking more responsibility in a company, then you can use AI techniques to take intelligent decisions. So this is going to be possible when you are understanding what are the technological advantages, and you can take up courses to help you. For example, if you're in a finance industry, if you are able to implement a chatbot, then this is actually going to be very profitable for the company, because if you are setting a BPO where they are taking up the queries, you will find that you are able to bring the cost down by using just a chatbot, because you will be releasing some of the people out. Okay, so in this particular fashion, you will find that AI is going to be very, very profitable. So when most of you are basically having 2 years of experience, right? So you're basically your route towards greater things, or promotion, or even coming up with new products is can be actually can be powered by learning AI.
Yes, correct. And say there is working professionals out there right now who are probably 10 years experience right now, and
Yeah.
wanting to, for example, look at a data architect role or move into machine learning, higher position in essence. For them specifically, organizations, will they come and saying, okay, you can take on this role? I'm presuming it won't be that straightforward. So what for them, are they supposed to look to implement machine learning, artificial intelligence in their current roles first? How should they go about it?
So basically, it depends on your ambition. So there are a lot of jobs where you can do things without AI, but then using AI, you can help the company see that what are the other things. For example, let's say you are a finance manager, you are just looking at what should be my pricing. Okay, using AI, you can predict that maybe in certain months I can increase my price by this much, and in other times I have to reduce it by this much. So you are able to demonstrate your expertise in the domain using AI. So this kind of decision is going to be fueled by AI, and it's going to be a huge advantage for your employer to have you in the company. So this is the advantage of having AI.
Got it. And even broadly talking about upskilling, I think there was almost
Yeah.
40-50% people who want to upskill in machine learning, artificial intelligence. For both experienced and freshers, people who are starting, or even mid level professionals who are looking to upskill in this. Is getting certified good and important, an important aspect of their journey at this point in time? You think like pursuing online degrees or certifications, things like that, is that important as a recruiter? What would you think? Does it add value?
Yeah. So today, in this environment, it's quite possible for you to demonstrate your expertise by having a certification. And then, so today, when a recruiter is going to come to you for AI, then they are going to look at not just your degree. They're also going to look at your participation, your knowledge, your domain knowledge, all of that. So this actually can be done by 3 steps. First is, obviously, you have to know the subject very well, and one of the ways of knowing the subject is to do a PGP or a BSc or something in AI, because you have to definitely dedicate at least 2 to 3 hours a day for you to get that kind of expertise, right? Number two is you also need to participate in Kaggle. So you also need to participate in a lot of these competitions. That is going to give you confidence. And the third is, then you are able to transform your problem, your domain specific problem, into an AI solution.
Correct.
So these are the three steps in which you can actually upskill yourself.
Brilliant. Great. So there's a specific question that's coming from Deep Chand.
Okay.
He says, "Hi, I am Deep Chand. I have 5 years of experience in software development. I
Yeah.
want to switch my career into artificial intelligence, machine learning.
Yeah.
Would it be possible now?" Question one. Number two, does a master's in machine learning through Upgrad will that help me in this career aim of mine?
Yes. So today, if you are a software developer, your career path is either you are going to become a team leader, or using AI, you can become a product developer. So a product developer is going to be a very good career path in respect to a TL, right? So today, if you're looking at whether Infosys or you're looking at a financial company, okay, so using AI, you can demonstrate your expertise and you can demonstrate your value more than a TL. So upskilling using AI is going to be a very good step for you. Also, Upgrad is giving you diplomas with they are also tying up with a number of well-known universities and colleges. So this is going to help you a lot. Another advantage with Upgrad is they also have mentoring sessions. So every 2 weeks, you are going to sit with a mentor where you can clarify your queries. You can actually spend time to understand the concepts better, and you can clarify in case what is the next steps with the mentor. So these two things are going to be very beneficial to you.
Brilliant. And specifically, I think, do you think, like he was asking specifically on masters, a master's degree, is that a good idea also?
Yes,
to,
yes.
With regards to diploma? Okay.
Yeah, it's a very good, any kind of knowledge, especially you are actually showcasing your commitment to learning something. So it's a good thing.
Brilliant. Cool. So thanks for that. Number two, I think there are quite a few more questions coming in and we want to try to answer as many as possible. Just on a quick note to everyone, we do know that, we've already got 50 plus of open questions. We do know that there are various questions, and even in the past, we've said that, we want to answer each of these. And to help answer these, we've got this program or an initiative called the Upgrad Evangelist Initiative, wherein you can speak to an industry expert for free for a one-on-one call for 30 minutes. If I'm not mistaken, Ariani, you also run that panel, right? Where you speak to prospective people who would like to know more about machine learning.
Yes.
So you get to speak to an industry expert basically for a free 30-minute call or so, just where you ask the questions that you're asking right now. Even Ariani is there on that. And if you'd like to get connected with an expert, just sort of ask your questions. How do I transition? Does this make sense for me? Is it the right time in my career right now? Does it make sense to upskill? Yes or no? All those sorts of questions. There's nothing for you to lose. We can arrange for that. I'll just be sending in a poll quickly where you can say yes or no. And I'll also be putting a form in the chat window. If you say yes, please do also fill in the chat window the form, because we will need that just for the experts to understand your background profile. It will also have your resume, LinkedIn question, which is not compulsory, but it's helpful if you add that, because the expert will be able to then cater the session accordingly for you. So do let us know. Coming back to you, Narayani, I think a specific question from somebody who is anonymous. So he or she has been on a sabbatical for quite some time and would like to know now how to start this journey into machine learning and artificial intelligence. Will it be helpful to get a job in the field? And what all does somebody need to learn to stand a chance to get an opportunity?
Yeah, so like we said before, AI and machine learning is going to help you to upskill and to basically you can enter the job market not as a new person. You can actually enter with more knowledge. So you have now got domain knowledge as well as specific ML knowledge. So you can actually join despite that particular break you've got. You will be able to join at an equal or a better role. So this is how this particular AI will going to help you.
Got it. And I think just on a side question, right? For those who are wondering, do you know any knowledge whether India is using this at the moment in the fight against COVID specifically? Do you think this can be used and implemented? If yes, how?
So when you are looking at COVID, obviously, whenever they are doing drug development, they have to use ML. They have to use machine language to come with a drug which is safe as well as effective against COVID. So all those vaccine development and other things, COVID is going to be useful. Similarly, suppose you are in the public sector, or you are, finding out how good the COVID is, then you can actually take a job as a BI, a business intelligence person. So you can develop dashboards. Okay, so that is another kind of AI job that you can take. The third thing is you can also predict. So let's say 1 year from now, what is going to be the case of COVID? Or let's say even 10, 10 days from now, what is going to be the infection rate? So these are the different roles. So a data scientist can also be a social scientist. So you will find that AI is going to surpass all kind of roles. So whether you are going to be a social professor, or you're going to be a doctor, or whether you're in a government company, AI is going to help you to not only predict but also understand the problem better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Great. Quite an interesting number of questions continuously coming in. Another one is coming, I think, for somebody who's just started out the careers, who's 7 months into being a software engineer. Should I, the specific attendee is asking, should I also, think about machine learning, artificial intelligence, given that I'm in software for 7 months, or should I wait?
Yeah,
Essentially,
so if you are a software developer, whether you are a UI developer or you are a language developer, eventually you will be working with different AI systems. So you will basically be writing codes to integrate that. So rather than just writing codes to integrate that, you can actually upskill yourself and you can actually get a better role. So rather than being just a software developer, you can look at, a product developer, or you can actually you even look at data in a different way. For example, even in software, you can find that there are different kind of QA problems, different kind of this thing. You can actually develop a bot which is able to identify what are the different issues and immediately give solutions, right? So you can come with these kind of products.
great. Another couple of questions that's coming is, I think this probably is from somebody more senior, but he or she has not mentioned their experience. Is it required to get an AI ML project in the existing organization first, or is it possible to transition first externally without prior project experience, with AI ML?
Yeah, so a way of doing that is you need to be very good in your domain, and you should showcase expertise in AI method also, right? So one way of doing that is participate in Kaggle, look at different competitions, and you can use your ranking, and you can also showcase the way you approach the problem, and that can actually help you get a job externally, or you can even showcase that to your own company and get a new project.
Great. What about those who are, I've got a couple of teachers or people on the academic space right now.
Yeah.
For the last few years are in this, teaching or, working through this, but now wanting to get into the corporate sector specifically, into, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Any specific feedback for them that you think would be helpful?
Yeah, so even in the teaching, today you know that most of these corporate programs, it is all determined by the rating of the students. Okay, so there again, you can use AI to understand, if that is possible, you can understand that what kind of students do, what kind of rating, and how it's useful. So most of even academically or in your day-to-day classes, you can use AI. So if you look at Western countries or in China, there are a lot of these companies which are AI based. So they actually help the students determine the whether they have to complete a particular concept fastly, or can they you need to slower it, right? So that is also determined by AI. So there's a lot of scope in integrating AI in learning.
Got it. Cool. Madhusmita is asking an interesting question, like, which algorithm of machine learning and deep learning has the most practical applications? Can intelligent robots be implemented without machine learning?
So currently, if you are basically looking at something like a self-driving and all, right? So you find that intelligence is going to be determined by of how this particular object is looking at different things, right? So it is the relationship of this particular object has with the environment, and that's also the perception it is having with the environment. So here machine learning becomes a very important thing. If you are using just AI, if you are just putting rules, then it cannot learn new things, right? Suppose you are developing a self-driving car, and suppose there is a rule which says that every time you find a signal, you have to stop. That can be rule based. But suppose you are going to help the car go forward, take turns, then you need to implement ML. It's not possible just by using AI, right? It cannot be only rule based. You have to implement deep learning. You have to implement machine learning to make it more intelligent.
Brilliant. Great. And for people who are sort of wondering specifically are on the fence at the moment, Aryani, especially with the pandemic situation, COVID-19, the uncertainty of what's coming ahead, should I take the plunge right now, upskill right now or not, or should I wait for this entire scene to end and then do it? What are your thoughts for them specifically? How do they deal with fear? Should they wait or should they not? What are your thoughts?
I think this is the best time for you to upskill yourself, because the pandemic is going to probably go on for the next 1 year or 2 years, right? And this is going to mean that lower salaries. Okay, so there is going to be an economic consequence because of the pandemic. So if you are upskilling and you're able to showcase the value from that upskilling to your employer, you will not be affected by the pandemic. So this is a good time for you to upskill yourself.
Got it. Brilliant. And finally, I think people are looking in, wondering, I think especially with data science and artificial intelligence, machine learning, upgrad specific programs have data science, machine learning and artificial intelligence are both different ones, right? How do people think or go across that, like if they are starting between 0 to 3 years experience, should I first go for a data analyst role, should I work towards a machine learning engineer role, or those who are experienced as well, how do they bifurcate and where do they fit in with their entire line? What are your thoughts on that?
So if you are basically in a knowledge industry like research, marketing research, okay, those kind of roles, you can go for a data science course. But suppose you are in a engineering role, okay, so you're basically looking at implementing things, then I think it's a good idea for you to go for a machine learning course, because you can implement these things and look at the benefits also.
Got it. Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for that, Naryani. I think we're just coming to you just got overshot by a couple of minutes. But do you just want to end, by giving your final thoughts and specifically on upgrades programs, anything specific you want to say for people who are looking in to pick up those programs, whether they should or not, and then we can close the question.
Yeah, so to repeat myself, Upgrad has basically tied with some of the best colleges and institutes. And you will find that Upgrad has got implemented different modes of teaching. So there is an online material, there is also a mentor program, and there is also a telephonic guiding kind of program saying that this is your scoring, this is your domain, these are the roles you can take. So Upgrad is going to help you from A to Z in terms of using this particular course in your domain and growing with it. So I think that Upgrad is a very good option for most of you if you are looking to use AI and grow your career faster than the pandemic.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for that, Naryani. Thank you so much for joining us in today. Thank you everyone for joining in as well with us. Thank you so much, Naryani.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you everyone for joining us in. Yes, you will get the recorded session link for this. For those who want to give the feedback for the session, I've also added in the chat window. The feedback is very much appreciated and will be helpful in the longer run. I've added the feedback link just now. You can add that. And for those who'd like to speak to an industry expert for a free 30-minute call, just to understand more about how you can use this in your profile, in your career currently, please do fill in the form which I've added in the chat window. And for all those who've said yes, I see quite a number of people who have mentioned that they'd like to speak. Do mention that again in the chat window and we can take that up from there. But thank you so much everyone for joining in. We will resume next Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the next session. But until then, do stay safe, do stay indoors and have a good evening. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Naryani. You can drop off, Naryani. I'll just be on for a couple of minutes and then.
All right.